So I wanted to build a chatbot using the Twitch API. So I'm live on Twitch right now, and what I'm doing is I'm just looking at the instructions for how to authenticate to Twitch TV to get an authorization code, and then hopefully move forward with my life. So we're trying to log in with a user, grab an authorization code, and then use that to authorize our server to communicate on the user's behalf. So space delimited list of scopes. So say space delimited list of scopes. I'm also using Golang to communicate to the server, so hopefully this will just be a fun experiment. And then state. So this is not required. Although optional, you are strongly encouraged to pass a state string to help prevent cross-site forgery request attacks. I should probably learn more about that. The server returns a string to you in your redirect URI. See the state parameter in the fragment portion of the URI. If this string doesn't match the state string that you passed, ignore the response. If the state string should be randomly generated, the state string should be randomly generated and unique for each OAuth request. So we'll say that state, and then we can say something like randomly generated string, unique for each request. Okay, so we got this auth URL, client ID, redirect URI, scope, and state. I don't know if that's the right IPv6 address. It's supposed to just grab like a random one and like serve it on that, but that's like my plan anyways. And we don't want to do force identify because, or force verify, because then that would force the user to like re-auth every single time. Actually, do we want to do that? Maybe we'll determine later on if we feel like it's necessary. But like right now, I don't think it's like absolutely necessary for like my needs or wants. All right, so the following URI shows an example request that you'll navigate to in your web browser control. The URI is formatted for easier reading. So we'll do something like format.sprintf. We'll say %s, oops, percent for string. Then it is question mark, client ID equals %s for the client ID, then an ampersand, I think that's what it's called, response type. This will always be code according to the documentation above. Make this a little easier for me to read. Response type is equal to code, and client ID, response type, and redirect URI is equal to %s scope, and scope is equal to %s, and state is equal to %s. So then we want to start with auth URL, client ID, response type is code, redirect URI, redirect. Does it say URI? It does say URI, but we put URL, so we'll come back here. What did I do to my hands? Redirect URI, and then scope is equal to, so then we need scope, and then followed by state. So insert scope, state. What is this little warning? Oh yeah, it's not used. Well, of course it's not used because we gotta launch the browser. So I only plan on running this locally. So we'll try to do a local authorization, which would be os dot I believe there's a browser package. Is it browser.go? Yeah, look at that, browser.go. So if I do browser, where's this coming from? Browser package, there we go. There we go. So if I say browser, and then I come up here, and what is it? It's that, right? And then that, and then we say github.com/package/browser. No, come on. Browser dot open URL, and then we'll say URL. We'll come down here. We'll say insert the URL there. And we'll say go mod tidy. And the main. Ooh, look at that. We're back in business. Okay, so we have the browser URL. So that all seems to be working appropriately. If the user is logged into Twitch, Twitch asks them to authorize your application's access to the specified resources. If they're not logged in, Twitch first asks them to log in and then asks them to authorize your application. So we got that going. Register your app. Let's see here. If the user authorizes your app by clicking authorize, the server sends the authorization code to your redirect URI. See the code parameters. So then we need a way to receive the codes. So we'll say func. The redirect URI should probably be somewhere like up here. All right, func is like a constant. We'll say receive authorization codes. And this will be taking a URL, which is a string, and then decoding that. So we'll say like, oh gosh, how do we get the response? So we're going to listen on a port and then grab all the query parameters from it. Huh. Use the authorization code to get a token. We'll worry about that later. Okay, so we need to figure this out. So we'll just add to do read URI query params decode to object. Actually, probably what I want to do is I want to add a struct type, struct, there we go. And here we probably want to put in the state as a string, probably rename that to state. And then we probably want to also put in the redirect URI because I want to automatically generate that for any open port, which I believe you could do with Golang. There we go. So let's see here. Func exchange for token, and yeah, we can fix that later. What I want to do for exchanging for a token is I want to have the token URL. This would be HTTPS. Actually, when in doubt, copy and paste, because I have been fat fingering all day today. There we go. Token URL, set the following X in the body of the post. So again, we need the client ID. You know what? I don't want to keep constantly setting the client ID. So what we're going to do is we are going to set this up early. So we'll say client ID, string, client secret, string, code, the code that the authorized. Okay, so that's something that comes from here. Auth code, string, and then we need grant type, which is our automatically set, and then redirect URI, which we already have. So what we'll do is we'll come in here, change this to some pointer stuff. Was it AD auth data pointer? There we go. Yank, paste, nice. Paste. There we go. There we go. Lovely, lovely jubbly. All right, and then set up auth data. Actually, let's say create auth data. Func create. I'll probably move this out to its own package eventually, so I'll just say that. Create auth exchange. There we go. And this will return a auth data pointer or an error. And we can worry about the error type later. So we'll say return nil, nil. Then what do we want to do? So we want to grab the client ID and the client secret from the OS environment variables. So we'll say like os dot get environment. Okay, let me import OS first and then read the instructions. So I believe there's like a get environment. Get environment retrieves the value of the environment variable named by the key. It returns the value, which will be empty if the variable is not present. To distinguish between an empty value and an unset value, use a lookup environment. What is lookup environment? Lookup environment retrieves the value of the environment variable named by the key. If the variable is present in the environment, the value, which may be empty, is returned and the boolean is true. Otherwise, the return value will be empty and the boolean will be false. Okay, interesting. So we'll say lookup value or lookup environment, and then we'll say the string that we want it to be. So was it const string? No, it's const Twitch client ID string equals Twitch client ID, right? We don't want that, we want this, and then say yank, paste, and then secret, secret. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll say lookup environment is the Twitch client ID, and we'll have it do, we'll have it set to, so we'll say, how do I want to do this? I'll say client ID, okay, right? Okay declared not used, that's fine for now. We'll say if not okay, return nil. Error, is it errors dot? No, I think it's format dot error f. Missing environment variable, or now let's say naming is the hardest thing. Changing between here, environment variable not set, and then we'll go over one and we'll say Twitch client ID. Great. And then we'll cheat a little bit, yank, paste, and we'll call this client secret. Client secret, okay. And then come here and we'll say blah, 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 blah. Yes, that's correct. Okay, then we will return a auth data. So then we'll say pointer, no, ampersand auth data with data. And we'll say client ID is equal to seed, and then client secret is equal to CS. And then we should generate a code right now too. So I want to figure out how to do cryptographically crypto random string Golang. See func create, was it create state string, and this returns a string, and we'll say available values, and the available values are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Every letter and number on the keyboard. You can probably tell them typing on a QWERTY keyboard. And then let's see here. So we want to say, or is it just rand? Oh, look at that. Crypto rand. Ha ha. And this is saying, oh, securely generated random bytes. So it just reads a random amount of bytes, and then it goes down here and then does generate a random string URL safe by then encoding those bytes to a string. That's what it's doing. Oh well, I'm just going to work with my state string. So we'll say random. Woo! We don't want that. So we know the length that we want the state to be in. So we'll say for I is equal to 0, I is less than 32, because we want 32 bytes. We'll say I plush plush. And then we will say number error ran.int. Okay, they use a ran.reader, so I assume that's something. And then we need a big int. Okay. Ran.reader. And then we'll say big, which I assume is big int. Yeah, we'll do this one. Big.newInt and 64 length of available values. And then if error does not equal null, return that or an error. I love code search. Registering your app, we'll do that later. So return error, and then, okay. Output string. Oh no, we want string builder here, don't we? For our string builder, strings.builder, sb dot rate outputs it. We want to, no, string outputs it. We want to rate a string, and this is where we will say, what am I doing? Put in null, nil, and I'll add the return type error. Then we'll put in string builder.write string, say available values, grab the num value, string, must be integer. What? Oh, because I'm getting, okay, int. Cannot convert num variable type int to big int. Is there a way to just call it a int in 64 work? Yeah, that works. Great. And then, so that goes, writes the string, then we do string builder dot string nil. Return string builder nil. Okay, so we can come down here. State string if error does not equal nil, then we'll say return nil format dot error f cannot generate state string. These are all going to be fatal errors, hopefully. Maybe we'll figure out a different way to handle these, but for now they're just going to be fatals. So we'll say state, which needs to be the state string. Okay, what else do we need? We need scopes. That I can append whenever I want. I'll probably create a constant variable up here for that. So force verify, and actually, why don't we do this? Auth URL, inc. Oh geez, why did I push random buttons? Const x string, and then change word Twitch auth URL. We'll have const Twitch. What's the other URL that we want? Token URL. Also going to be a string. We'll see, where is it? There it is. The $, yank, up. Let's see here. Is it 21K? Yeah, there we go. Paste. All right, so down, down. Yeah, so then we'll just change this to be the Twitch auth URL. Then come down here. And we know that we'll need the Twitch token URL, so we'll comment that out. Put in Twitch token URL, and then delete until the end. Great, we're looking good. We are making progress. The one thing that I would like to do is pull this all into a different file eventually. I don't know if we'll get there, but we got like 45 minutes, so maybe maybe in 45 minutes before I like head offline. Let's see here. So available values, string builder creates the state string. What's the next thing that I need to do on my list? So I have state, I'm going to generate a redirect URI, client ID, client secret, check, and then auth code. Auth code is what we get when we make the request. So we'll say like, navigate to auth URL, navigates to an auth URL for Twitch, and then returns auth code inside the auth data struct. There we go. Oh yeah, look at that. We gotta update all these too, don't we? Okay, so we'll say change word, ad dot client ID, ad dot redirect URI. Do we want scopes in there? We'll probably figure out something to do with scopes. Change word, state. All right, so we can probably delete some of these. Ooh, this is really cleaning up nice. Okay. And then we also want to start a server that listens for the port that we navigate to for the redirect URI. So I think listen on a random port in Golang. I know there's a way to do it where that you can then determine the port. Is it just net.listen? Oh, and then you have to say like listener.address and then get the TCP address and then get the port. And then that's how you can figure out the port that you're listening to. So you can always return like a random port to listen to. And then I think we also want to do IPv6, which I think is something goofy like that, where it's got the like, and the double colons. Okay. Okay, so func HTTP start local auth server, and we probably want to pass in the star ad, nope, it's ad star auth data. I know I'm doing this out of order, so we'll just move this down to somewhere down here, so that way it makes a little bit more sense. We're going to have to do that in the auth exchange, so we'll paste it. There we go. Handler is usually nil, which means to use handle func, add handlers. I think I want a very specific handler. Is there a way to like just search for :0? Oh, that's a lot of stuff. Oh, maybe it's not a lot of stuff. Port. Yeah. Let's listen and serve. So it sounds like we can definitely do default server mux is used. Example, always returns a non-nil error. Really? He'll serve with handler and handle requests on incoming. I'm kind of curious now if that would like do the same thing for me. Maybe I can just listen. We'll just listen and serve. Because we do want to return a URL if somebody visits that endpoint, so we'll say nil. And how are they doing this? Yeah, they're, So we'll say listener error. And then is there a way to close this connection? So if I say listener, Oh, it only returns an error. Okay. Because this is where I'd actually want to handle the exchanging of the code that I get back. So, what can I do here? Listen and serve always returns an error, a non-nil error, but I want to be able to handle. Okay, so I will have to do a hello handler. Oh, that's how I can handle a certain function. Okay, that makes sense. So I can handle a function using a handler that I can write down here, which is like receive authorization codes. So it'll receive the authorization code, decode it, and then is there a way to tell it to shut off the listen and serve? So stop, listen, and serve. Golang. Grid and graceful shutdown, a bit more concrete example. Let's see what they say. Sync.wait group, start HTTP server, which is a function, a PR, listen and serve, important use, returning reference to caller can shut down. And this, how does this get the, oh, look at this, HTTP server. Got it. So I need a server object. Ho ho. Ho ho. There we go. This blank HTTP is used. Handle incoming requests. Oh, okay. So that's where I made the goofy. Okay, let's see here. So I actually want to do http.server address, don't care, blah, 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 blah. And I probably want to do something like this and say port server, listen, serve. Okay, this actually specifies the port. But if you don't specify the port, okay, so if I say server equals that, and then I come back here and I change this to server, and what does listen and serve do? Returns an error, which we then can like listen to in this go func. Okay, so we'll probably need go function, which would be paste that up there, delete that, save. Expression in Go must be function call. Oh, for this line, right? Is that what it's, what am I missing? I don't think I'm missing anything. Okay. So here we'll probably want to pass in a wait group because we'll want to get that exchange code from create the auth exchange. So we'll create the auth exchange. Then we'll have to open up the browser. And then once we open up the browser, this could finish by listening and serving. So we'll have to append the handler. So this will, down here, exchange for token will actually be a handler, right? Oh no, because we need to receive the authorization codes, which then we exchange for the token. So this would be writer http dot response writer reader, which is a pointer to the, it's not reader, request. Okay. And then I think we can come up here and say server.handle. Huh. Handle function to there, because I think we're just going to serve it on the default URL. Then we'll say func. No, not func. We'll say ad dot receive authorization codes. Ho ho ho. Right? That should do it. This needs to be a pointer. Still getting kind of slimy about this expression in Go must be a function call. Go func Okay, so I had an issue with the go function. Server declared not used. That's all fine. Paste that. Okay. It's fine. Go function. This is where error server closed on graceful close. So error server closed is the graceful close. Is that what I'm reading from that? Listen, serve, shut down, close, return. After server shutdown or server close, error server closed. Oh, okay, I see. So what we want to do is we want to listen for expression in Go must be a function call. Come on, format.printf test. Oh, I see. Like that. Great. Whew. Okay. So we'll come back here. We'll say if error does not equal, or if error equals server dot, is it listen and serve? Yes, it is. Listen and serve, so it'll automatically start serving. Error does not equal http dot error server closed. So that's like the good error for graceful shutdowns. Fatal F could not listen for Go for authorization code V, and then we'll put in a comma, and then we'll say error to report that. So that will force exit us. And then what we want to do is also force shut it down. So I think there's a way to say exit done add one, which is, this is the wait group. And then what do? Oh, they call server shutdown. So they get the server, then once it responds, they shut it down. So that's when I'll have to actually add the server here. So I'll server, and then what's the data type of server? I guess it's an HTTP. That's a silly question. HTTP server. Okay. So now that we know that, we can come up here, say ad.server, And then, oh, we should probably do a pointer here. So then this becomes this. Okay, so it starts serving. Once we have received the authorization code, once we have the auth code, shut down the server. And then this comes back here to say, ad.server.shutdown. What is the not enough arguments? Come on, man. Oh, it wants a context. So then we'll come up here and we'll say context equals context dot with timeout. And what does timeout take? Oh, it takes a parent context, so we'll just use background and then we'll give it a time dot duration. Or is there another way that we could do this with timeout? Background cause after function. That seems cool. With value, background with cancel. Oh, with deadline. That also takes a context. Okay. Copy the parent context with the deadline is just being no later than D, which is the time. It's already earlier than D. Okay, without cancel, with timeout cause. So timeout is canceling this context releases resources associated with it. So code should call cancel as soon as the operation running in this context completes. Okay, so we can say context, cancel context with timeout, 100 times time dot milliseconds. So it gives 100 milliseconds to end. And then they call defer cancel. So that way when this is done, the slow operation, it cancels. Okay, so what we can do is we could say with timeout, and we'll pass in context.background, which is like the foundation for all contexts, if I recall correctly, and then we'll give it 5 time dot seconds. That seems long, maybe 2. And then we can come back here. And then I believe it gives it a cancel as well, which we're not going to use. So we'll say rewrite the word. Whoops, not that. Change word to that. And then pass in the context. Okay. Let's see here. Shutdown gracefully shuts down the server without interrupting any active connections. Shutdown works by first closing all open listeners and closing all idle connections, then waiting indefinitely for connections from the idle, and then shut down. If the provided context expires before the shutdown is complete, shutdown returns context error. Otherwise, it returns any errors returned from closing the server's underlying listeners. When shutdown is called, serve, listen, serve, blah, 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 blah. Shutdown does not attempt to close nor wait for hijacked connections such as WebSockets. The caller of shutdown should separately notify such long-lived connections. You know, I feel like if I shut it down with a context that eventually times out, we'll probably get a bad error later on. But that's okay. We can live with that. So ad.server.shutdown. We'll see if that works. And then what happens is we then want to get the request and we want to not read it, we want to get the query. Is it URL? Yeah, URL.query. And what are these? This is, I believe this is query parameters, right? So this should be values. What are values? Values is a map of strings. Okay, so, oops, main. I think there's a way to close all buffers except current, which is this one. Nice. Whew. Okay, so we'll say query params is equal to that, and then we'll pop that over there. What are the query params that we get in the response to authorize? So this gets the address, which we still need to generate the redirect URI. I know that we're not doing that yet. If the user authorized your app by clicking authorize, the server sends the authorization code to your redirect URI. See the code query parameters. So the code is equal to query params dot. Should we do a has and then a get gets the first value associated with the given key. If there are no values associated with the key, get returns the empty string. To access multiple values, use the map directly. Okay, so has add delete set encode. So we'll just call get, and then if the value is an empty string, we'll throw an error and shut down, I guess. So how do we set an error from here? That's interesting. Anyways, get, so we will get code, and then what's the next one? Scope, query params dot get scope, and then we'll do state, query params dot get state, and then we will grab, we need to grab the error and the error description in case we vomit on this, right? So we'll say error query params dot get error. Why am I doing this? I could just copy paste. There we go. Back description. Still can't type. Okay. So we have code, scope, state, error, error description. Code, scope, state, error, error description. Yes. And then we can use the authorization code to get the we can then use that to exchange for a token. But before we do that, what we need to do is let the user know that they were able to log in. So writer.write. Oh, this one's like bytes. Writer dot. Yeah, I guess we can write bytes, but then to write bytes, we want to do a string. It's like, we should probably handle the errors, right? So we'll say, and we also want to append the auth code, right? Once we have the auth code, shut down the server. So I think I want to put in auth ad.auth code is equal to code. And whoops, why did I do that? Down, down, down. Okay. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Wait a minute. I thought I fixed all the errors here. Undefined server. Oh, yes. ad.server. Does not have a field, but does have, oh, there we go. Down, 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 down. Okay. Need that out. There we go. Right. Okay. So if code equals that and error does not equal this, let's change this to or. Why did I just do that? Or error description does not equal this. Because, I mean, what if there's an error code that shows up, right? I think we should then call actually, you know what we should do? Copy this. Because once this goes out of scope, then we should shut down the server. Yeah, I like that, okay. If none of those match, or state, no, 80.state does not equal state log.fatal, not feral, f something. Actually, we could just use the writer and then return early, right? Let's do the writer, because I always hate when you like visit a website and nothing shows up. So we'll just say write, and then okay. Actually, we can format our message here. So we'll say message equals this, and then we can say message equals format.sprint f code was failed to match on state or error, or got an error. And then we'll do percent slash n, we'll say error colon percent s slash n description percent s slash n. Actually, I think that's all we really need, right? So then we'll say append, then we can put in error description. Okay, yeah, I like this, okay. And then if code equal that, then what we could do is, I got 20 minutes to finish this up because I want to go to bed. Do I want to do an else? I feel like I should say like login successful. We'll do the success case first. And then we'll come down here, and then we'll say return, not return, w.write byte, the bytes dot new buffer. What does write take again? I feel like there's an easy way to do, is it bytes dot new buffer string? Yeah, that's what we want. And then we'll say message B is for bytes. And there's just like a byte. Yeah, there we go, bytes. Boom, baby. And because we're not using the scope, we probably will want to use this later. We'll just leave it in there for now. Actually, there we go. Cool. Okay, so we've gotten the authorization code. We have a way to navigate to the auth URL, and we are able to set up this auth exchange bit. So, and I don't think we actually need to return an error from here. It should just work, because if it doesn't work, it will fail. So then what we should say is start. That certainly changes things. The word. Yank. Paste. And then we'll come in here and we'll say AD, do that. Delete until the end. Return AD nil. Okay. I like this. So look at the environment. Blah 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 blah. auth data, client ID, client secret, state string. We start the local auth server. Then after we start the local auth server, we can say, and the port and all that fun stuff. So don't want that. We want the address. Address. Yeah, this bit right here. Okay. Listen, serve, blah, 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 using port. Okay, so listener.address. I wonder if we could set that right after this runs. So, Could not listen for authorization code. So I just assume that runs forever. What if I do add dot server dot, yeah, look at this, address. Cannot call non-function add.server.address. Okay. Why is that? Address optionally specifies the TCP address for the server to listen on in the form host:/port. So what does listen and serve do? That returns an error. Serve returns a listener. Serve accepts incoming connections on the listener L, creating a new service go routine for each. The service go routines read requests and then call serve.handler to reply to them. HTTP2 support is only enabled if the listener returns TLS.connection connections and they are configured with H2. Serve always returns a non-nil error and closes L after server shutdown or server.close. The returned error is error server closed. So maybe serve and listen isn't correct and I actually need, oh no, because that has a listener, but how do I get the listener to pass into listen and serve? Because I want to serve. What does this return? Nothing. Yeah, where is my Go docs? Serve, listener, type listener interface. The problem with this is that you won't be able to find out what port was assigned, so you need to create the net listener yourself using the net listen function and manually pass it to http dot serve. Ew, okay. So this is where they're creating the net.listen and then they, oh, okay, so http.serve is what we actually want to call, but then how do we, what does http.serve do? Serve. And then can I hold a reference to that serve? Good golly, there's so many serves. Not server, serve. Okay. What if I do that? Nothing. Okay. You won't be able to find what the port was assigned to create net. Listener yourself using the net.listen function and manually pass it to http.serve. Actually, you can access the assigned port from the net.listener from its net address acquired. It's not directly access the port, but then create the net listener using TCP network stream. The net address will be of dynamic type TCP address, which you can acquire with the type assertion, which is struct and has a field port int. Note that if you don't need the port in your application, example, you just want to display it for yourself, you don't need the type assertion. You can just print listener.address, which will contain the port at the end. Oh, okay. So What if we did this? Net dot listen TCP colon 0? What am I doing? Pushing the wrong buttons. Not 1. Okay, so this would be list. Then I think this also takes an error. If error does not equal nil log.fatal f listener could not be created, %s error, then so how do we serve a listener? And then do I need to do anything like this? Listener, what is the listener values? Address, ooh, network address close, accept. Address. So could I do that up in here and say address is the listener? Yeah, what's the error, buddy? I type in it. Okay. http.server with listener. Golang. So I don't think we necessarily, but we do want the server, right? Because then we gotta say, instead of listen, I think it should just be serve. And then this takes a listener. And then we could still shut it down remotely. Server accepts incoming connections on the listener. I'll create a new service go routine for each server. The service go routines read requests and then call server.handler to reply to them. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then is there anything I need to do for like handle function? Add a handler to a listener Golang. Multiple handlers. Servmax. New servmax. Look at that. You know what? It can't hurt to like try it out, see like what gets generated. So then after that gets all set up and is running, then I should be able to say like, and serve should always return an error. Yeah, server close. Okay, so if we come back here, blah, 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 what was I looking for? Okay, yes. Here I wanted to say listener dot address. That's what I want. Okay, and then I want this to be 80.redirect URI is equal to that. And I probably want to just print it just for my own satisfaction. Format add redirect URI. I don't know when these get called. Like I don't know if this gets called in like a Go routine or something, but I feel like this has gotta maybe be its own thing, and then it comes down here to this. Oh, come on, man. Although I guess we could, we could have like a wait group, right? So if we just did like wait for server to start, and then return. Well, when in doubt, try it out. Okay, so create auth exchange. We start the local auth server. That sets all that up. And then once the local auth server is started, then we can run something after listen and serve. After, okay, yes, that's what I'm curious about. After the server ends, you might send signal to the watcher like this. Netwatch, watcher, fs identify new watcher, make. How can I start the server after the server started listening? That's my question. Open the server, open the listener, start the browser, and then enter the server loop. Okay, open start. Bow, boom, bow, bow, boom. Actually, I wonder if this would be fine right here, this redirect URI. If we just yanked it, pasted it. Because I wonder if the net.listen reserves the port. That might be something to try. Let's try it out. Go mod tidy. Not what I was. Oh, yes. I'm so smart. I forgot to totally like set this up to run the main function. So create auth exchange. Okay. All this to log in. I haven't even generated like my client ID yet. So we'll say create auth exchange. Main should be at the bottom. Oh, because I don't have the Twitch client ID set yet. That's okay. We can just ignore these for now. Ooh, does that really work if I do? Oh, but it exited. Why did it exit? 50511. Oh, I know why it exited. Is because we don't have the wait group set up. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is good. Where's the wait group? We need to go down to, yeah, let's go to this one. Create auth exchange. This is good. This is really good. We are getting somewhere, baby. Okay. Type auth data. Wait group. Sync dot wait group. And this will need to be a pointer. There we go. And then we'll come up here. We'll say wait group dot no. Yeah. Down here, ad dot wait group dot add one, and then we'll come up here I'll say 80.wait group dot decrements wait group. Yeah, look at that. Oh, no. I don't want to do that. I want to wait 80.wait group dot wait. So this will block execution until it's done, right? But I want to defer that. How did they do it in the example that we were looking at? Did they defer it at the beginning? They did. Oh no, they deferred the done, but then how did they wait? Oh, I know how. Defer, okay. This makes sense. Done. So this will keep the server alive as long as we wait for authorization to complete, which we do in here. So receive authorization code, get all that stuff, new buffer rates, and then did I not shut down the server in here? I thought I did that. Oh no, because I deferred it at the top. And then here we come in and we say 80.waitGroup done. Okay. So as soon as we visit that page, it should get shut down. Invalid memory address. Oh, so we gotta come up here where we create the wait group. That's probably fine if I do this. 80.waitGroup equals sync.waitGroup. Oh, it canceled. Damn. Okay, so we can remove some of these like test values. Where did I put like the redirect URI? Oh, geez, why am I doing that? I got U and control U confused in my head for a minute. I think it means I've been working too long on this. Listening on this port. I think we could probably delete that one. Let's see here. Yeah, that was good. Okay, good call. Listening on that. And we should probably set the redirect URI. To format.sprint f Oh, why did I do that? That was silly. Back. Insert http:// comma, and then %s. There we go, redirect listening on there, create auth exchange. I think I've been looking at this a little bit too long. It's like well past my bedtime, so I think I'm going to call it here for the night. Call not discarded to avoid a context leak. Okay, so we'll do this. Change word. I gotta learn more about context because I feel like I will need that there. With timeout doesn't really make sense, does it? No, it does. Okay, so I gotta figure out why the server shuts down like right away, because if I do this, it spins up. I can't click on that. But then I cannot figure out like why. So I start the wait group, then I come up here, I'm like, defer the done. Wait a minute, what does done do? Yeah, I want to defer. I want to defer the done, and if I come down here, oh no, this is where I want to defer the done. I want to wait. So I don't want to do, or do I? Because that doesn't exit right away. That's blocking on that. So I need to actually say like waitgroup.wait. So I need to say like add.waitgroup.wait. Okay. Refuse to connect. Oh, but it finished. Huh. 562. Maybe it has something to do with like my listen and serve. Listen and serve versus serve. Given the goal of sending requests to the server after starting the server, the application must execute listen and serve separately. Sending requests after starting listen and serve as a Go routine does not guarantee that the server is listening when the requests are sent. It is possible for main Go routine to continue executing send before Go routine executes at all. Yeah, it's too late. I think I made good progress here, just handling the auth stuff. And it's funny because you never think auth is like all that complicated, and then you go and implement all this, like, and you try and do it the right way, and then it's like, wow, this takes like a while. Like, it all makes sense. Like, everything makes sense. It just is very involved. So hopefully I can split this out into a sub package just for like authenticating to Twitch with Go, and maybe we'll get somewhere next time. So thanks for watching me struggle. Ciao.